Let's talk about the water specialist today. She's one of my favorite units, and she's starting to get a little bit of shine lately. I'm getting asked more and more frequently how mine is built and what I'm doing with her. I think people are finally coming around on the water specialist. I think she is so good. She is so insanely good for the things that she is good at. So let's talk about how I've built mine, what I'm doing with her, and kind of what my recommendations would be for her. Really quickly, we'll go through her skills. She's got the fairly standard A1 on the specialist, the paralysis, pretty good chance to proc it. We've got AOE, stun, and dots on the A2, again semi-standard. I would like to get this skilled up eventually. I think she is well worth fully skilling up. I think having the extra 10% here and the cooldown is huge. And I'll say I notice the difference in the frequency with which my fire specialist stuns and dots versus my water specialist currently. It's night and day. I don't know why that 10% makes such a big difference, but it's very, very noticeable how often my fire spec dots and stuns versus my water spec. So she's well worth the skill ups there. And then the A3 is really where her power comes into play. Apply 2 turns of Hex. And if you're not familiar with Hex, it turns them into a wisp and they lose everything. Their gear set still takes effect. So like if they're on full counter, they'll still counter as the wisp, but their passive goes away. All of their other skills go away. They become a wisp and their skills change. So when you go look at a wisp, for example, if I hex a fire unit, they turn into this thing, right? They turn it into this thing wearing the gear that the old unit was wearing. They are no longer the same unit as long as hex is up. So it cancels out passives, it cancels out all of that. It's very, very strong. On top of that, increases the action bar of all allies by 30%, and it ignores immunity, which is the real kicker. So Zeal runes aren't going to protect somebody from this, which is particularly handy for something like Guild Wars. Arena, you'll probably be running a stripper anyway, but you could put her into a good bruiser comp, and it won't matter if they have Zeal runes because she's going to hex through it. They'll keep their immunity, but they'll be hexed. Does that make sense? So very, very, very strong skill. And then she's got a pretty nice HP lead that works in all content. So as far as how to build her, speed and accuracy. You don't want her missing the hex. Mine has 129 accuracy, and it's getting more and more frequent in higher level arena that people are resisting the hex. So people are really figuring out that resistance is an important stat. we had our fun, but now people are really starting to figure that out. So certain units I've come to expect to resist the hex. But nevertheless, you want to get as much accuracy as you can. You want her missing it as rarely as possible, because if she misses it, she just wasted a turn because nothing happens, right? You get the boost, but like nothing really happens if you don't land it. So you want her fast enough to be effective, fit in with whatever comp she's running. You want her to have enough accuracy, basically as much accuracy as possible, and then a decent amount of HP, again, depending on how you want to use her. The way I use mine, she doesn't really have to take too many hits, so it's fine that her HP is on the lower end. But swift sets, focus sets, I think Echo is nice on the specialist if you can swing the speed and accuracy. But the set on these champs are really not too important. On these units are really not too important. It's really more about speed and accuracy with some tank stats if you can swing it. So let's talk about how I use mine. In my cleave, and then we'll hop in tunnel, and I'll just show you a run. What a run looks like with what I'm running, because those are the two places that I primarily use her. So I come in, I strip, I boost, and my water specialist goes next. This is nice because the way it's set up, no one's had to hit anybody yet, which means I'm not going to proc any counterattacks or any passives or anything like that. And then basically with her, what I get to do now is I get to decide who's the biggest threat to me currently on the enemy team. If there's a problematic passive, if there's a light bear, if there's a fire nurse, if there's a tree surgeon, if there's anybody that's got a passive that I think is going to be problematic or prevent me from doing what I'm trying to do, I can hex them. If that's not going on, if I'm not really worried about what's going on the enemy team, then I can go ahead and reinforce a little bit with some stuns and dots. And then she's on bash, so I also get to use, stuns rather. So she gives you an option in a cleave. She fits into a cleave. Now she fits into bruiser teams as well. She can fit into other stuff as well. But I might get outsped there. But let's try it. If we get outsped, fine. I still want you to see kind of what we do with her. So again, this is another situation of one where I'm not really too worried about anybody. But let's say this sphere was way faster, and I was a little concerned about being cut. I would just go ahead and hex them, so that now if they cut me, it doesn't matter. I don't have to worry about getting my turn meters reset and stuff, and then I can just come in and clean up, right? Again, Light Bear is probably my most popular hex target. I will almost always hex a Light Bear. I will hex a Light Archon fairly frequently, because again, it just removes them. They're not the same champ anymore. They just become a wisp. So now I don't have to worry about anything that the Light Archon does, and I can just clean up, right? Even though we got countered there, it's not a big deal. And that's it. That fight was way easier than it would have been if the Light Archon stayed in the fight. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I use mine in Arena. I don't really put her into too many bruise comps because she's not really built for it. But if you wanted to load her up with some HP and accuracy and get a decent amount of speed on her and have her participate in longer fights, that is also very, very possible. I use her in Airship, which I forgot to talk about. So let's switch over, and we'll just watch a fight where I use, because I use her with Fire Specialist and Dark Nurse. So we'll just watch this round. You can kind of see what she's bringing to the fight. Right. I don't want to wake up the Tree Bear, so I just hex him, and it doesn't matter. I get the reset from Dark Nurse, so I go ahead and hex the Fire Specialist too, because I don't want her getting turns. So if you run her with a cooldown reducer in Guild Wars, it's kind of crazy. We just kicked the fight off with double hex. We took 2 of their 3 members of the team out of the fight from the jump. So she's very, very strong. She's going to have a huge impact on whatever team you have her on, okay? And then Tunnel is another place where I would recommend that you run her. You get a lot of mileage out of her. We are, let's just say, I don't know. I don't want to do one that's going to take too long, but like this one will probably be fine. But I run something like this most of the time. I double up on my Specialist. I run a Tree Wisp in case I need the Oblivion. Dark Nurse. And then who else do I like to run in here? Let's throw in Light Robot, because why not? But basically, having Water Specialist on the team, one, she gives you, it's another sort of makeshift Oblivion, right? If you hex someone, you, for all intents and purposes, have Oblivion to them. So she brings another one of those. She brings AoE stuns and AoE dots, so she's going to prevent you from having to take too long in the waves. So if you've got anybody else with her doing these things too, it's highly unlikely you're ever even going to have to take a hit. You're probably never even going to get hit in Tunnel. You know what I mean? Maybe you'll have the rare counterattack or something. Every now and then somebody might slip to the stun. But for the most part, this is what this is going to look like. If you've got anybody else, if you've got a Dark Giant that can help with the stuns, anybody on Bash, any other good AoE crowd control units, this is pretty much what you're going for. And I don't have to change her build. That's the nice thing about it. I've got one build on her, and it works for everything I use her for. I kind of made sure that she was tuned right for my Arena team, and then with that build, she just works everywhere. So she's really not that hard to build. She's not super stat hungry. If you're in the higher levels and you want to avoid getting resisted, you are going to need a pretty substantial amount of accuracy. But beyond that, she doesn't need a lot. Enough speed to function in whatever you want to do with her, as much accuracy as you can swing, and then after that, as much HP as you feel like you can manage on her without sacrificing any of the other important stuff. But that's it. She's very, very good, very usable, very strong, and one of my favorite units. The key to my success in more places than one. She's that Guild War offense very rarely loses. My Cleave very rarely loses. And my Tunnel team, I autoed all of normal and most of hard. And she was on every single team pretty much that did that. So yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to kind of put a little bit of a spotlight on her. Again, I'm getting asked more and more frequently lately about her, so I thought maybe it would be nice to get a video up on her just to give you a little bit of my opinions on her. So that's it. I hope it was helpful. Oh, one more tip that I guess I'll throw in at the end. If you want to use her in arena, I think a Zeal set's a good idea. That way you can even go in against tree barb teams, because he'll focus her. If she's the only water unit on the team, it won't matter because she's on Zeal, and then you can still do your thing like normal. So that's a quick bonus tip for anybody that watched the whole video. Zeal is a pretty good shout on her, I think. It just keeps her safer if for some reason you end up not getting first turn, or you want to go in and fight tree barb teams, because it kind of negates a tree barb team. Because after that, you can either hex him or whoever the other dangerous member of the team is, and you're still good to go. You know what I mean? So that's it. Getting out of here. Hope it was helpful. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you later.